Hello and welcome to the History Almanac, where we explore the fascinating stories of the past. Today, we're going to talk about one of the most dramatic and controversial episodes in medieval history, the Crusades. What were the Crusades? Why did they happen? Who were the main players? And what were the consequences? Stay tuned to find out. The Crusades were a series of military campaigns that took place between the 11th and 13th centuries in the Middle East. The main goal of the Crusades was to reclaim the Holy Land for Christianity. But what was the Holy Land and why was it so important? The Holy Land is a region that includes modern-day Israel, Palestine, Jordan, Lebanon, and parts of Syria and Egypt. It is considered sacred by three major religions: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. For Jews, it is the land promised by God to Abraham and his descendants. For Christians, it is the land where Jesus was born, lived, died, and resurrected. For Muslims, it is the land where Muhammad ascended to heaven from Jerusalem. The Holy Land was under Roman rule for centuries until it was conquered by Arab Muslims in the 7th century. The Muslims built the Dome of the Rock and the Al-Aqsa Mosque. They also allowed Christians and Jews to live and worship in the city, as long as they paid a special tax called jizya. However, things changed when a group of Muslims called the Seljuk Turks took over the Holy Land in the 11th century. The Seljuk Turks were more aggressive and hostile towards non-Muslims. They imposed higher taxes and restrictions on Christians and Jews. They also attacked pilgrims who came to visit the holy sites. Some reports even claim that they destroyed churches and synagogues. The Seljuk Turks also posed a threat to the Byzantine Empire, which was a Christian state that controlled most of Eastern Europe and Western Asia. The Byzantine Emperor, Alexius Comnenus, feared that the Seljuk Turks would invade his lands and capture his capital city, Constantinople. He decided to ask for help from his fellow Christians in Western Europe. He sent a letter to Pope Urban II, who was the leader of the Catholic Church. He asked him to send soldiers to fight against the Seljuk Turks and liberate the Holy Land from their rule. Pope Urban II saw this as an opportunity to unite the Christian world under his authority and to fulfill his religious duty. He agreed to help Alexius and called for a holy war against the Muslims. He made a famous speech at Clermont in France in 1095, where he urged thousands of people to join him in this noble cause. He promised them forgiveness of sins, spiritual rewards, and earthly riches if they went on this crusade. He also appealed to their sense of adventure, glory, and honour. He said, "God wills it." This became the battle cry of the Crusaders. The response to Pope Urban II's call was overwhelming. Thousands of people from all walks of life, from knights and nobles to peasants and monks, signed up for the crusade. They wore crosses on their clothes or shields to show their devotion. They set off in different groups towards the Holy Land, crossing Europe and Asia Minor. Along the way, they faced many hardships and dangers, such as hunger, thirst, disease, bandits, and hostile locals. Some of them also committed atrocities against Jews and Orthodox Christians, whom they considered as enemies or heretics. The Crusaders finally reached Jerusalem in 1099 after a long and bloody siege. They massacred most of the Muslims and Jewish inhabitants of the city and established the Kingdom of Jerusalem, one of the 4 Crusader states in the Holy Land. The First Crusade was the most successful one, but it was not the last one. Over the next 2 centuries, there were several more crusades launched by different popes, kings, and leaders. Some of them aimed to defend or expand the Crusader sites in the Holy Land. Some of them targeted other enemies of Christianity, such as the Mongols, the Cathars, and the Muslims in Spain. Some of them even turned against fellow Christians, such as the Byzantines, who were blamed for not supporting the Crusaders enough. None of them achieved their goals, and most of them ended in failure or disaster. The Crusades provoked a strong reaction from the Muslim world. At first, the Muslims were divided and disorganised. They did not see the Crusaders as a serious threat, and they fought amongst themselves for power and territory. However, this changed when a new leader emerged, Salah ad-Din, or Saladin as he was known to the Crusaders. Saladin was a Kurdish general who united the Muslims under his rule. He was a brilliant military strategist and a devout Muslim. He also respected his enemies and treated them with honour and mercy. He fought against the Crusaders for many years and finally recaptured Jerusalem in 1187. This sparked the Third Crusade, which involves some of the most famous figures in history, such as Richard I of England and Frederick I of Germany. Saladin and Richard fought each other with courage and skill, but neither could defeat the other, and eventually agreed to a truce that allowed Christians to visit Jerusalem as pilgrims. Crusades continued for another century after Saladin's death, but they gradually lost their momentum and support. The Crusader states became weaker and smaller as they faced internal conflicts and external attacks. The Muslims became stronger and more united under new dynasties, such as the Mamluks and the Ottomans. The last Crusader stronghold in the Holy Land, Acre, fell in 1291. The last major crusade, led by King Louis IX of France, ended in failure and his death in Tunisia in 1270. The Pope tried to revive the crusading spirit in later years, but he could not persuade enough people to join him. The Crusades were finally over. The Crusades were one of the most remarkable events in history. They lasted for nearly 200 years and involved millions of people from different cultures and religions. They had a huge impact on many aspects of life, such as politics, economics, trade, art, science and literature. They also left behind a legacy of violence, hatred and misunderstanding that still affects the world today. The Crusades are a complex and controversial topic that can be seen from different perspectives and interpretations. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more history videos. Until next time, stay curious and keep learning.